Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And yesterday we got whooped on, as we would say around here, by the winds and the storms, and it cut across, and they were like they weren't tornadoes around here, but they took out some big trees. In some directions, we didn't have internet or electricity for 25. I guess you can see what's it, about 40 kilometers, 45 kilometers, something like that. Uh, it was a real challenge. The fiber optic systems really got clocked, I understand, and they had to try to. It took 12 hours for them to repair them. So Doc was trying to get up on trying to get up on systems. I went about 40 kilometers away to a friend's and tried to connect up there, but it still didn't get going. It was at that point I wouldn't have been able to do the webinar, but at least I would have been able to see the markets. I didn't see the markets until like 2 in the afternoon. It was really wild. So anyhow, here we are. Do we have? Today's the big number. We got our CPI. That's all they've talked about now for 8, 9 days. Waiting for the CPI, waiting for the CPI. Here comes the CPI. You can see the dollar index up on the screen. Oh, what's that? Swiss up there? Let's get the dollar index up on the screen. Excuse me. On J4X. Let's see, right. Where's it at? Right there. There's the dollar index. And as you can see, dollar index is kind of trapped, going sideways. It doesn't know if it wants to come or go. It doesn't know if it's supposed to go up or down. It's just kind of hanging out there. You can see on the beta platform, we got like red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot. We went into a sell here on, what was that, on Friday? Is that Friday? No, that's Monday. Went into a sell on Monday. On Tuesday, goes back into the buy. Stays in the buy on Wednesday, and here we are on Thursday, lifting up even more. So there's a lot of noise going back and forth, back and forth. It can't really figure out if it wants to be there or not. I'm not sure why I'm not sure why we're not getting the update when it comes to. Oh, here we go. Where's that at? I'm not getting exactly the update. Dismiss that. Why is not? Let's try something else on J4X. There's the gold. That's there. That's no problem. Gold's funny. Look at that. Wait a minute. Whoa, where are we at on that? That's way out there. Something's odd about the whole thing. I guess we were looking at the Swiss. Let's make that whole screen. See if we can move it back to normal. I see we were back in, that's 2018. That's 2019. There's 2020. Let's see. Just keep on going. We'll get there. There it is. That's 2021. There's 2022. And there is 2024. There we are. That's normal now. Let's bring that back down again. And right there. That's gold. Let's get back to the dollar index right there. There we go. There's the dollar index. Like I said, we've been bouncing around. In this case here, you see a lot of green, just like it was here. But it doesn't seem to be able to get it out of place, I guess. I don't know. What do you want to call it? What would you like to call it? What should we call that? A sideways chopping market, or a channel, or an envelope. That's usually what we used to call that. And that's what they call that on the trading floors, because it's not really making any solid direction. It did do a nice little bottom in here, and then it lifted up. And when we go and look at, let's see if we can put the bond market on this. Let's see, where's the bond market on this? I'll find the bond market. And that's kind of interesting in its own right, the bonds. There it is right there. There's the bond market. You can see the bond market was in a slide going, whoop, now I'm ending up doing that. Okay, so you can see here the bond market from here. So we can get this right with my mouse. So you can see here the bond market basically, was moving down right there. There was that pressure on it. Let's just go back. And so the bond market was pressing down. And last couple of days it's been trying to lift up, meaning interest rates are dropping. Remember, when the bond price goes up, the interest rate goes down. And then when the bond price is going down, like in here, that means that interest rates have been rising again. And now you can see they're trapped in this little 4-day envelope. Everybody's waiting for the number, which is going to be at basically in 54 minutes. And then the news media will have it in their hands at quarter after, about 15 minutes before the end of the webinar. The news media will know. The exchange, the Securities Exchange Commission releases the data to the news media, and supposedly they're not telling anybody. But you can always see the change in price. So we're probably going to see the same thing while we're doing the webinar, and we'll get a flavor of that. I missed the pivots because I was out of power. I'll have to go back and see if I can find that pivot situation. I wanted to see what the Pivot Academy said about it all. Not the bonds, just pivots in general. We finished that webinar 2 days ago talking about the pivots and how much we enjoy using the pivots. And we also joined in talking about Harry Potter somehow. And so combination of both was very entertaining. I like Harry Potter. I like pivots. So they wave their magic wand and they give us a good direction. All right. So the dollar index just hanging underneath the 102 area. Let's put it up on the J4X platform. Not the J4X, the Chicago Quant platform. You see that there, all that sideways action, and that's the dollar index. You see, without the hinky ashkies, it looks even more of an envelope over the last 7 days. And so that's what we've been waiting for. 7 trading days back, they started talking about how important. Oh, hey, there we go, Robin. Let's see, and hey, Fisher. Hello, everyone. How are you? So we're just trying to basically, get an idea. Get an idea of what's going on. Am I signed in even? I think I am. Yeah. Looks like I'm signed in. There we are. There's Janos. The math I've been hearing, and then when I look at my math, just for the markets itself, what it's trying to tell us, they think that the CPI will be down a little bit. That's what they're talking about. They're thinking that the CPI will be just down just a little bit because they looked at used cars, and the cost of used cars have come down a little bit. Trying to think what other is the big number that they've seen, the internal numbers to it. And that wouldn't surprise me any. They don't include oil and energy, of any form. They don't include food and prices, so they're not really looking at commodity prices like corn or wheat or soybeans or anything like that. So that's not going to influence it. I think metals are in there. So, metals have been sideways, so there's not much direction there. Higher than the forecast, lower action on the dollar. What will be interesting is, we will see about quarter after, we will see the how the markets act a little bit. It'll have some influence. Sometimes they jack it, sometimes they don't. It's a little confusing overall. I don't really think. I don't know. I don't see anything coming out that makes me excited one way or the other. Also, here's another thing. This is like, I think you like this stuff when I start to go into it, and that is the Bureau of Labor Statistics has had to update and change 11 months in a row now. They've been really going back and backdating and straightening things out. And so there's a a lot of smart, I want to say smart people that I trust, basically has the opinion that how do I describe it? They have the opinion that let me put this here. I need to move something there. They have the opinion that the statistics have broken down. I'm trying to say it in clean, easily English, So in other words, the CPI is not really representing enough information correctly. And you can see it. When retirees in the United States got their Social Security increase, they gave them 3.2%. 3.2%. Inflation at the time was around 4 on the core rate, and they gave the Bureau of Labor Statistics gave the Social Security system in the United States, they could increase the pay by 3.2%. So you fast forward from that, which really I thought was very incorrect, and that was back in October, November of last year. Then you go and you look at the updated Bureau of Labor Statistics by the government. They've had to redo them now for 11 months. So they put it out next month or 2 months later, they have to readjust it again. Then they put it out again, and then 2 months later, they have to readjust the 2 last months again, and so forth. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics now has had to update something like 11 out of the last 12 months. So in other words, their numbers are way off. It's skewed. The system is broken. And so as you had the, I always like to give you that credit. You did that. You did 2 videos on how to trade fundamentals. And that's what we're talking about is fundamental data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And what we've seen, you showed that basically the Bureau of Labor Statistics data was fleeting. In other words, it lasted no more than a couple minutes and disappeared. The markets did not follow through. And that's because when they went in and looked at the actual numbers themselves, like when we see the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, when they talk about employment, we see that the employment is not private sector. The employment number is expanded because of the government hiring people. And so they've done all these trillions of dollars to supposedly fix the economy. Instead, they've just used it to hire people. And so so when you go and look at the CPI coming out this morning, it's not going to fit. In 2 months, it'll be all different. In other words, it won't be a good number. And then when they get it at, right now it's 7:43 a.m. here in the East Coast, okay? The number comes out in less than an hour at 8:30. But they will send it to the media at 8:15, basically in, 32 minutes. They'll send it to the media. And the markets will move a little bit because they'll tell some managers about it. And then what will happen is when the number comes out, they'll see all the stats and, it'll be exciting. And then why it flips so wild, like you've said in your videos years back, is because the stats themselves are not accurate. And we are learning that, more and more, especially this year. 11 out of the last 12 months, they've had to redo all their numbers from employment to, in other words, the employment number is dropping more and more. The inflation number is lifting up more and more, because they keep on putting these headlines out, trying to confuse the investors or the markets. And what's really why that's not working and why they can't convince the public that the economy's good is because people have to go to the store and buy. They have to put fuel in their machines. And maybe part of the reason why they're so excited about electrical EVs, electrical vehicles, is because people don't see it as easily. The numbers are not put in front of them, but it costs, 6 or 7 times or 5 times more to go a kilometer than it does by using fuel. Okay, when using electricity, they can generate the electricity from coal and oil, and then say it's an electric vehicle, and you don't see the numbers so clearly until you pay, the bills, which are utilities, which they keep kind of fixed. And so that's what the problem is, trying to predict what a number is because we know that the Bureau of Labor Statistics is going to fudge the numbers and make them look okay. And then next month or the month after, they'll fix the numbers and it'll get adjusted correctly, but then they'll fudge the numbers of that month. And so it's constantly confusing the investors. Constantly. And then when they take it apart, they realize how bad it is. Higher than forecast, lower, and yes, right, exactly. And so that's my opinion, is that the BLS, basically, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is kind of just has lost it. It's totally lost it, and they lost it because they're fudging the numbers, and then they clean it up next month. So every time you go back and look at the numbers, they're nowhere near what they were. And they have to clean them up. And then they fudge the numbers this month for next, and then next month and 2 months down the road, they'll fix the numbers and put them back in there, and they won't look so good. And like I hear good analysts who've, I've seen over the decades, have been around a long time, constantly predicting, higher inflation still coming around the corner. That's why the Fed, as much as the market wants to predict that the Fed's going to do 6 or 7 cuts, the market, itself, the money managers are basically saying no. And we'll be lucky if it's 3. If there's 6 or 7 cuts, I heard one money manager last night say this: if there's 6 or 7 cuts, the best investment will be ammunition for your weapons. Because, in other words, he's saying that things have to be really bad for them to want to do 7 cuts or 6 cuts. And that's the issue that's at hand, which is insane. Can you imagine that? That's how weird things are getting now. So, all right. Righty. Let's go from the dollar index, and let's take a look at the euro itself. And there is the euro right there. You see that the euro is closed in a daily buy yesterday, and it's marching up. And we can take a look at it right here on J4X. Right there. And that is exactly what's going on there. It's just pushing up and up and up. The euro trying these last 2 days to get going again. I heard stories. There's another thing too. What is going on with Hungary? Or Bulgaria? One or the other. Let me go find this story. There was a story out 2 days ago. I guess it was it yesterday? No, it was 2 days. Yeah, it was yesterday. When I was able to get up on the web to some extent. And let me see if I can find it. And the story was about the European Union and who's going to take over control. And they were saying that, let me find the story. They were saying something about, let's see, where's it at? Orbis, oh, here it is. Orban become Emperor of Europe? ? Brussels fears scenario where he controls EU Council presidency. So, what do you guys see from here? I'm seeing that where it says European President Charles Michel has confirmed that he will stand in the European parliamentary elections. If elected, the presidency would remain vacant, and under the current rules, the member state holding the rotating presidency, Hungary, after the elections would chair the meetings. So, European Council President Charles Michel on the left speaks about Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban during a roundtable meeting in the European Union Summit in Brussels Thursday. This was on December 15th now. No, wait a minute. That was December 15th of 22. And Charles Michel has confirmed that several Bulgarian newspapers that he will... now, what's that with the date? That doesn't make sense. Okay, so there it is. Scenario. An unchecked Orban ruling the council post roost for 6 months directly after the 2024 European election is one most of the other 26 leaders of the EU countries would be desperate to avoid, given the escalating tension between them and Orban. For example, over the Union's support for Ukraine and Hungary's rule of law infractions. So I'm assuming that's why we're seeing the European Union or the euro itself trading lower, and whereas the cable seems to be moving, stronger against the same, at the same time. So I mean that is the curiousness of it all. Let's see what Jonas says. Orban Emperor. Yeah, journalists should drink less. The presidency has less power than a parking attendant. Yeah, but he would chair the meeting, so he could control the. I understand you don't vote for the presidency. So in other words, the presidency is like a committee position. In other words, the countries pass it. Who's the president of the European Union? I don't know. I'm going to put it up on the screen because maybe maybe some of this will make sense to you, and I'll show you where I got it. And because what they're saying is that there's a nervousness going on now. Now, I don't know any other reason why we would be seeing the euro underperforming the Swiss and the cable. That's the only thing I can figure out is why it's doing that, is because the procedure. Remember, the European Union is built on procedure, and not allowing people to communicate ideas. There it is right there. Does that make any sense at all? Yeah, he's going to be chairing the meeting. Right. So yeah, it's a real bouncing procedure, and so you don't put the president together. It's the parliament and so forth. Well, look what what's happened to Norway. Look what's happened to Italy. Let's look at what's happened to Sweden. The old European Union, I guess you could say, or the old states, are shifting to a more conservative, more law-abiding type of structure versus a dictator, a socialist dictator type of structure. I think that's what it comes down to. And then there are the commissioners, right? And the sort of ministers who sectors in the EU common energy. Okay. All these can propose but it all goes through the parliament. Yep. But when you're like the speaker of a parliament, you can basically control what goes on the floor and what does not go on the floor for a vote. Isn't that correct? And I would assume, because of this article, that's why we're seeing the European unit, the euro, having its issues, That would be why I think that's finally making some sense out of it. Right, but one that can stall. They're saying that Orban will be able to control the agenda in his committee. And that, European Council President, that's what they're saying, is that the President of the European Council is elected by the European Council by a qualified majority. The next president will be elected in June during the next institutional term, together with other appointments to senior posts. The rules of procedure of the European Council provide that if the term of the office of the president expires, he or she will be replaced, if necessary, in absence of a successor, by the member of the European Council, representing the member state holding the 6-month council presidency. And they're saying he will have that power, and so he won't replace the president. However, at the end of an information pack sent to journalists by the council, it was stressed that these rules can be amended by a simple majority. Well, look at the local elections. Just as I just said, look at Italy, look at Sweden, look at Norway. Those they may feel the same way. They've also talked about having their own currencies. Let's see. Let's go back to it again. How's that? Right there? That's it right there. And it's in zero hedge. Let's see if I can. Can I paste that? Let's see if I can paste that. If I paste the title, you can go and Google it, unless they block it. See if it happens. There it is. Will Orban become Emperor of Europe? Brussels fears scenario where he controls EU Council presidency by not having a president. That's what they're talking about, I think. That's exactly what they're talking about. So that may be the answer why we're seeing the dollar index going sideways. Slash, when you look at the Europe, when you look at the euro trading, you see the euro doing the same thing, going sideways, trying to lift. Just as, let's go back to the dollar index. You see, where is it at? Dollar, right there. See, it has that curve in the opposite direction. This curve's in the up direction, and the other curves in the opposite direction. So, to me, that's that. Now, as I've said, the Bureau of Labor Statistics trying to figure out the CPI. I'm hearing money managers now, big money managers, saying things like, they're managing billions upon billions, and they're saying basically the stats have broken down, which you recognized, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago? You recognized it. I recognized it. Quantitative easing is really a detriment. It hurts the open markets. That's the problem. I can't find the article. Concentrate on CPI now. Okay, don't worry about it. It's on zero hedge. You can cut and paste that. Will Orban become emperor in Google? And I'm sure, and then say zero. Do that whole thing and say zero hedge, and it'll probably spit right out. Yeah. So, and that's where we stand. So, trying to guess the CPI, I just follow the math at this point. It's and like I said, I've heard money managers basically over the last 5-6 days try to take little pieces of what they think will influence the CPI. And that's where we are with that. Alrighty. Now from there, ding. Let's go over to the cable. And there's the cable. Now the cable is basically almost at the high of the month already. It's again that it's trading differently, and the Swiss has been trading differently, and that's what I've been saying. The Swiss is like the the best pairs trade against the dollar at this point when you're trying to be long or short it, and the cable is the second one. They're both working very well. Found it. Okay. See, what it's going to be is it's going to be a procedure trap, and when you think about, where is England going to be? Great Britain when it comes to, are they in the European Union still? I guess they are. They just broke away their currency, that's all. So they're still communicating with the European Union on some level. Don't they have membership? Let me just Google that. That makes me curious. Great Britain have members of parliament. I think they do. Britain have members in EU Parliament. Have been reduced down to 705 after the withdrawal of the United Kingdom, the European Union, in January 2020, with a member state now having at least 6, at most 96. Okay, so they have some representation. The European Council is part of the executive of the European Union. Besides the European Commission, it is composed of heads of state or government. Yes, exactly. That's what the article is saying. That's exactly what it's saying, and that's going to if they don't replace or they don't do presidential vote or they stall a presidential vote, then Orban is going to have control of the council, and there won't be a president to counteract it. And then they're going to have to vote to try to get a presidency, and that might be blocked for 3 or 4 or 5 months through procedure. Yeah, it's called bureaucrats. They try to. It's not legal, but they try to. Does the U.S. have a body that gets together all the state governors? They have the Governors Association. They have no power whatsoever. None. Zero. Matter of fact, in the Governors Association, the governors will sometimes, Democrat governors will be supporting Republican governor issues. Not like in the House of Representatives in federal side or the U.S. Senate on the federal side. They function as an advisory only to general ideas. And then, see, what happened was they removed the power of the Senate. The Senate used to be the power. This is what happened back in the 30s, I guess it was. In the 1920s and 1930s, the politicians removed the power of the governorship. The power, what you're asking about, was the Senate, because governors appointed senators. So you had Senate governors more concerned about their state, the way it's supposed to be, and less concerned about the federal government. And that's why they referred to the Senate as the saucer to the hot cup of tea. And so the governors appointed the senators, and the population didn't appoint them. And that gave the governors power. They took that away from the governors, and now the population votes for the senators, and so the governors have almost no power over any federal legislation. And that's why things are even worse today than ever. They did that, 30, 40 years after the Civil War. Something like that. As he suggests, the legislature are impacting the parliament equals the Senate. Well, so in other words, they're not now. They can't. They used to do that. That's how the founding fathers set up America. They set that up so that they could, and they've taken it away from them back in the 1910s or 1920s, something like that. About 30 years after the Civil War, something like that. 35 years after. They realized that they could get more done on a federal level, and that's so in other words, a state would elect a governor, and then the governor can appoint his senators, and that he would have a say in federal government, and that's I'm surprised that doesn't go back to it, really, because that's part of the screw up around here. Now the senators don't pay attention. Matter of fact, what's funny is the governor is much higher in status than the senator. But in these times, because they're elected, the senators, there's governors now who run for Senate. It used to be the other way around. Governors would never run for Senate after being in the governorship. They'd run for president. Now they run for Senate. Because because they've disrupted the basic check and balance of the system itself. So, all right, let's take a look at the Swiss. See what the Swiss is doing this morning. Let's wave that magic wand. We'll look at Doc's magic. Right there it is. The Swiss. Yeah, Swiss is doing that same sloppy action at the moment. Let's put it up over here, where you see it a little bit clearer. Right there. You see, the Swiss is pretty much dead. I mean, it's dead too. I'm surprised that they're, even caring about the, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm surprised they even pay attention to the CPI, but, and now, because everybody's starting to get used to the idea that the CPI is messed up and all the Bureau of Labor statistics are messed up, they're taking them way less serious now. And so you can see there it's been in a buy for the last 2 days, been going nowhere. And we really believe that's the best of the pairs trades. If you're going to try to trade a pairs, it seems like the Swiss against the dollar is the best one of all. It's much more orderly and it's much more consistent. As you can see, we've been in that weekly sell since up in the 90-ish area. And now you can see, we've traded as low as 83.33. So that's pretty good. 6.5 handles down. That's a big move compared to the euro. And let's see where the weekly is again on the euro. I think it's still up in the weekly buy with no problem. Yeah, see, it's not moving, and there's no clear direction out of it. But whereas the cable is almost taking out this high here. Let's put the cable back up there. And it's heading for it now. So from there, in 9 minutes, the CPI will be released to the media, and they will not report it until 24 minutes from now. But in 9 minutes, they're gonna. So we'll go like this. We'll shoot over to. We'll see the little bulge or push that goes on. This is the S&P 500, and we'll see what they do to that. If they. They disseminate something. They never. The Securities Exchange Commission never pays attention to that stuff. They don't care. Insider trading does not exactly excite them unless it's a political enemy. That's what the problem is there. All right. From there, we go over to the yen. The yen is starting to lift up again. We're a little saddened by that action, but that is what it is. You can see the weekly is actually plus 15 today, 0.15. And so they're pushing on it. You can see the fast closed in the weekly buy last week. And now the slow is trying to join that as we speak. That's pretty painful for the Japanese, of course. And what else can we say about any of that? We've seen so much because of the LDP having their issues. So what we're really thinking about at this point in time is that they seem to have resolved a lot of it, and it brought, this is the yen. You can see the yen on here, how it glided down when they started to indict different members of parliament and remove financial minister and all that stuff. The LDP has been really trapped in, I guess what they call it, voter, or no, what is it? Not voter fraud. They've been selling votes basically for parliamentary proceedings, that type of thing. So they've in other words, insiders are they're bribing the LDP. That's what it comes down to. They were giving lots of members lots of money, and that's why the finance minister had to resign, and 5 members of the cabinet had to resign, and this is just over the last 2 months. And once it started resigning, you saw that the product over the last 2 months, let's tighten this up a little bit so you can see the top. You see the product started to, that was like a 45-year high right there. And then once they started getting rid of the criminal side of it, it fell all the way down to the 40-ish area. Now they're starting to bounce again. And, this is what happens when you have the criminality out of Washington. We show the world that it's okay to be, steal votes, sell influence. That's what it does. It makes the world even sloppier. Remember, as I say, financially, for a long, long time, we've been saying now for like 7 decades, 8 decades, when America sneezes, achoo, sneezes, the world catches a cold. So, when America acts totally criminal in the legal system, then what happens is that the rest of the world gets sloppy about it. And that's why you're seeing all these changes in Italy and Norway and Sweden. You're seeing all this, situation going on where they're getting tired of the criminality, and the people are fighting, and they're starting to, vote these people out. So that is that. And so from there, we go over to the Great Experiment. Let's take a look at the Great Experiment. I saw it over 33 this morning. There it is right there. 3307. They can't figure out if they want to come or go. I guess that's how you could say it basically. They are lost. They have no clear direction. Hello, what just fell? Oh, there it is. And so they have no direction. They are, trying to change the policies. But they're not succeeding very well, and that's part of the whole malaise of it all, the problem of it all. And they've put bureaucrats into these offices, administrative governments basically. And so it's going to take some work to clean them out. I've never really seen a socialist government do anything well until, and then when they run out of other people's money, then they really fall apart. So, that's where we are at the moment, and that's where we're seeing a lot of these governments finally get out of the business of, trying to lead your life for you. All right, from there, we go over to the South African Rand, which is the number one brick in the world. You can see it's trying to lift up. There's no doubt that the BRIC countries are trying to find ways to trade with each other, try to route around the dollar. It's fine with me. We would like to help. We need that help, honestly. I know that the media doesn't see it that way. They keep on drinking the Kool-Aid, but we wouldn't mind if the dollar was a little less overvalued and just let it be. Look, we know that when a growing America is running hot and heavy, people will buy those dollars. Look when Trump was running really strong, and as president of the United States, he was running the economy through getting rid of regulations, not increasing regulations. We saw the dollar go to 114, and just because the dollar is down now from it, they never seem to mention because it was the quality of Trump and his policies that drove it to be the strongest currency in the world. They kind of forget that part. They only remember what they want to spin. Okay, where are we at here? 1.5 minutes away from the CPI. So let's see what they're doing now. Let me see what they're doing. Let me see. All right, we got the stock market up on the screen there. Is that the stock market? No, that's the ZAR. Let's go back to the stock market for a second, and then we'll go over to the metals complex and so forth. Right there. There we go. So it's trading at 27.75. We are 1 minute and 12 seconds away from getting the numbers. Let's see what they do with it. What kind of little bing, bang, bong do. I want to do this too. I want to go over to here. Put the gold. Let's do this too. Gold. The CPI is inflation. Usually they buy. You can see gold is up pretty firm today at 20.38.9. So let's call it 39 even. We'll say that's 39 even. And here's the stock market's at 28 even, or 27.75. And the number comes out in 30 seconds, 34 seconds, 33 seconds, 32 seconds, 30 seconds. Okay. Yeah, so we'll see what that does. And that's the CPI that's coming out. Now, Dukascopy won't, I don't know, Dukascopy might get it, but they won't be able to publish it for another 15 minutes. That's all. And 12 seconds. I'll see what they do there. And 5 seconds. Let's see if we get a little bump in one direction or the other. Okay, the news is out. And it dropped to 27.5. Nothing. Very quiet. Let's take a look at... Now, they try to do it very secretively. Because, if they let everybody know what they know already, then they get in trouble. So now you can see there, Gold dropped from 38, basically 39 to 38.5. Now it's 38.7. Still at 30, and it went down to 38.5 there for a few seconds, and they seem to be holding up, just pushing on it a little bit. Let's see how the stocks are doing here, if there's any insight to it. Oh, nah, see, they're not moving it. So now we have 14 minutes, and we have 13 minutes and 50 seconds to when they publish the number out loud to everybody. We get it once the pop-up occurs. I think it is a Bloomberg feed. Is that what you guys get? Yeah. So they have it now. Bloomberg has it, and they're just waiting to be allowed to publish it in 14 minutes. They're 13 minutes. And it'll be interesting to see. All right. Let's go back to the South African Rand. We already saw gold lifting up. And there is the South African Rand. No, that's not the South African Rand. There's the South African Rand. Ooh, that was gold. Gold's still unchanged too, basically, from that. All right, so maybe the number is basically unchanged from what they were expecting, that type of thing. There is the South African Rand. It's been kind of firm, and you've seen the gold. Gold is up. Let's see. Let's put gold. Let's do this. I'm going to put South African Rand up on J4X right there. And then you can see right here, here's the gold. And the gold is up for the day. I mean, it closed yesterday at 2026.8, basically $27. And it's basically $12 up now. Now it's trading at 39.1. So they are buying a little gold in here. They're nibbling away. And you can see it's trying to climb into the weekly buy right there. Yep, and so that's where we are at the moment. And gold is just up a little bit, just a tick or two here or there, nothing exciting. And the stocks are probably the same way. They're sitting at 28. So I don't think there's a lot of panic. We'll see. I don't know if the news is going to be that great. Again, we don't trust it. So there'll be the headline, and then the headline will do its thing. We've got basically 10 minutes. Was it 11 minutes and 30 seconds to publishing it? All right. Well, what's it? I saw that it has a sideways range of 25 to 40. Yeah. And, the S&Ps? Oh no, gold. Yeah. Well, it closed yesterday at 28, and today it's trading at 39. So where is it now? 39.2. Seems like they're buying the gold. So there's 39.3. So they're stepping up and buying the gold. There's 39.4. There was just 39.5, and it now has dropped to 2. So the pressure seems to be that they're buying gold. So does that mean that the inflation, the CPI, is increasing? I would assume so. Wouldn't you think of it that way? What's that now? 39 even, 38.9. So they're just nibbling away at it, nothing major. We got 10 minutes before they come out with the number. Since I missed yesterday, I'll stay here all the way up to the 10-minute point and see what they do. Be very interesting to see. All right, so let's see. Silver. Silver's been firm. There's silver. It's trying to lift up. Same situation, playing with its weekly buy. We see copper right there. Copper's been in a sell from up in here for like 10 days, and it's trying to climb back up. Also, It's near the weekly buy number at the moment. It's just right at the zero line, just at minus 0.0024. And then the platinum right there, all four metals, they're trying to pick up the platinum this morning too. And so you can see it's still holding in the weekly buy. It's been in a weekly buy now for 8 weeks. This is the 8th week. And it started to look sloppy, but then it gave up. Let's see what else we got there. 9 minutes to go to the number. Looking forward to that. So that is the metals complex, especially with the CPI coming out. And I'd imagine gold is probably still firm. Let's see what gold is doing. Gold is trading at 38.8. Still very firm. It's up for the day. 38.7, 39, 38.8, 38.9, 39's even, 38. There's 39's even again. So that's the pressure we're seeing there. Now, brown cow. Let's go over to the energy sector. There's the energies. You can see oil trying to go into the buy today. Nothing major. The weekly sell has pressed down. We can get rid of that and get rid of that. And that's pretty much the action we're seeing in the crude oil. See crude right there like that. And what else can we say about crude oil? This is another sideways action. They don't seem to be that concerned about the Middle East or anything else. I know the United States now is producing more oil than ever before. We think we're 3 million barrels away, shy of where we should be. We should be about 16 million barrels a day. We're producing 13 million barrels a day, and that's a good thing. Mr. Trump is really, the policies of Mr. Trump to a great extent are still alive. As much as they would like to get rid of them, they're having a hard time getting rid of them. Hard time getting rid of them. All right. And we've got 7 minutes and we got 6 minutes and 55 seconds. Under 7 minutes to the number now. Let's see. Natural gas right here. You can see natural gas went into a sell yesterday. It's moving down a little bit, but it's still in that weekly buy. It's not exactly freaked out from the whole thing. Natural gas right there. And then what we do is we go over to, where is it? We go over to the energy company down in Spain. Right there. Put that up on the beta. And there it is right there. It's been sideways. It's just underneath the 27 area. Even with all the cold weather you have in Europe right now, it's still not having that great an influence on natural gas. Which is a good thing, of course. I mean, less energy to heat your house is good, There we go. Just trading underneath the $27 area, which is nice. And at the same time, we, like I said, we see the energy market. Oh, let's put Brent up there too. Let's put Brent up there. BZF maybe? Yep, there it is right there. That's Brent. Let's put it up on J4X. Where's Brent? Brent's right there. There's Brent trading at $78. That's been a good battle. Also, trying to, obviously, as much as the environmentalists are doing their best to put us all out in the cold, trying to remove ovens and take down ceiling fans, and we just got all kinds of wild stuff going on over here. What else is there? I guess that is it. All right, now, well, how much time do we have? We have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to the number. Let's put that in there like that. Let's check out the gold again. Put it up over here. And there is the gold, trading at $43.10. So they're buying it. That's what we've been saying. They have been buying it. So the CPI obviously is a hot number. Hot, hot, hot. Because you know that they know the number is out there. They know what it is already. And you can see, what is silver doing? Silver is at 23.30, near the high of the day. So obviously we would think that the CPI is trying to tell us that it's hot, hot, hot. Let's see, what they're saying is December Consumer Price Index, month over month, up 0.2%, and that's what they're thinking. Now we're seeing the stock market lift just the same way. There it is, trading the S&P futures contract is trading at 30? No, 29. Where are we at? Let's do this, cancel that. Not sure why that is emphasized. Let's do this. Oh, it's showing the blue line. That's what it is. So we are over 29 now. Just a handle and a half. Nothing major there. We have, what do we have here? We have 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So we're getting real close to the number. And the metals market is lifting. And so we'll see, you know, I'm not sure why they're buying stocks, but I guess there's more buyers than sellers. That's usually the way it goes. Quiet day on the questions. I like it when we talk Harry Potter and stuff like that, and pivots and different technical systems. I like to get involved. There goes the stock drifting a little bit down now, 28.50, 28.25, 28 even. Let's see where gold is. Yeah, we can put gold up on J4X. There it is right there, gold. Now that's the spot, and we're looking at the futures in Feb, so let's go back to that real quick. And there it is right there. Trading at 42.9, 42.8. And so it's about a $5 difference in premium because it's a futures contract. So it's got a carry. So it's at 42.4. And you see spot offered at 37.38 now, 20.38. Now back to 37 again. We've got the number comes out in 1 minute and 30 seconds. And let's see what we got going on here. Let's take a look at the stocks one more time. They're trading at 29. This will be real fun. We got the gold on one side at basically at 38, 2038. And we've got the stock market trading at 29. That is 48.29. And the number is out in 55 seconds. Under a minute now. And the gold is hanging in there. They're not letting it go, that's for sure. All right, there it is. And we've got the number coming out in 30 seconds. We'll be seeing it jump out on the screen on Dukascopy on the J platform. Look at the stocks now, up over 30. Gold is at 39. No, it's at 38 and change. And the number is out in 10 seconds. Let's see what it does. There you go. Gold just jumped $10. Stock market fell. It was hot, just like we were saying. And we can only tell that from the action of the charts. That's what we usually do. We look at the action of the charts. And it should spit out on J4X any second now. But it's going to be hot, obviously, because they bought gold from it. Now look at gold. Gold has just dropped $16. Oh my God. What a circus act, you know, Giannis. No wonder you had to get rid of those videos. You couldn't say enough stupid things. You couldn't say enough things to talk about how stupid the policies and the Bureau of Labor Statistics isn't anymore. Look at that. Gold has dropped $20 in the last minute from its high. And then let's see what they say about the headline number. Now, why aren't they spitting out the number? Here it comes. Here it is now. You'll see it on your screen. Hot, 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 hot. It jumped. It jumped 0.4%. It went 0.3% versus 0.2% expected. That's hot, hot, hot. Hot, 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 hot. And you can see the stock market dropping from it. $3.9%. So December year over year was 3.4 versus 3.2. But month over month, it was 3.9. So it's going to be hot, hot, hot. They're not going to be cutting stock, interest any time soon. That's what it is. Hot, 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 hot. All right, traders, we be out of here, and that's the year over year you're pointing out, Giannis, the 3.4. They say that the core was 3.9, around that 4% area that I keep on talking about. When they finally take it all apart, they're going to be like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. All right, traders, this is Doc from North America giving you a blow-by-blow of the crazy Bureau of Labor Statistics game going on. And we talked you through how we read the markets following the charts, not what people think statistically. Now, gold went from 38 to 49 and now went down to 22 and now it's trading at 31. That was pretty wild. And the S&P 500 went from 48.35 down to basically 48.04 or 03. And now it's at 13. Yep. So, Doc saying, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, later, traders. Catch you on the flip side for tomorrow, which will be TGIF. Ta-ta for now.